he never gave compliments, and I really like that, because once those kind of people give you a compliment, you know it's actually real. And we live in a world where everyone's like just saying compliments very loosely, and I think it has a lot more depth to it if it's actually has meaning and not just to be nice.
Hello, my name is Dasha Kalinovska, and this is my interview show of Bunkeren. And today is my guest Paal Friele Grung,
Thank you.
entrepreneurs and also influencer. We know a lot about you due to your recommendations of the food in Westland. We met with you super accidentally due to our mutual friends, and I didn't know exactly who you were. But then a little bit later, I started to scroll TikTok, and accidentally I saw your TikToks about food, and it was crazy interesting for me because I just new here, so it's interesting to learn more and more where I can eat, where I can find good food. And then later it became more and even more within my recommendations. And what I remember super bright that I started to meet my friends and they started to talk about you. So I'm like, wow, interesting. Who is this Paul then? So it's interesting to talk about this format of video. How did you come to this? Was that your dream before you wanted maybe to create content about food? How it happened in your life?
That's a very interesting question, because I've been wondering about the same for a very long time. Like, how did this come about? And when I was 12, I started working in a restaurant, and I worked there for over half my life before I quit. And I quit because I started my own business. So food has always been a big part of my life. Most of my very good friends own restaurants or work in restaurants, so and all over Norway. Um, I I lived in New York for 1 semester, and I worked for the biggest luxury restaurant, hotel, and nightclub company in the world, Tao Hospitality. I learned a lot from them in terms of how to create concepts and how food and entertainment and drinks can go together to create a very unique experience. Um, but it hasn't been like a direction I've been thinking about going. I've done it a lot for fun. I was in New York for New Year's in 2019, going into 2020. And we went all over Brooklyn, and we tasted pizzas, and we rated pizzas in a YouTube show. And that, I think it was like a 13-minute video. I think my friend took it down a couple of years ago, but it was a lot of fun. The last, I would say, 3 years, I've traveled around all over the world, rated pizza on my Instagram stories, on my private Instagram. So, and people have come up to me and said that was a lot of fun following. I'm like, okay, I think it's fun, like just hunting down the best pizza restaurants and finding the best pizza in town, rating it, showing the price. And then for some reason I started doing this on TikTok, but I didn't think people were watching TikTok. For me, I never looked at TikTok as like an entertainment source for myself personally. It was more of a social media channel to play around with and see how can I create something fun that I like on there. So I've done different things before I did food. When I was in Argentina with my watches, I documented a lot of the journey down there. And when I came back, I was running a lot, and I was running on Instagram, no, on TikTok, and I tried to get my brother actually to do what I'm doing. That's how it started, I would say. So 1.5 years ago, my brother, he wanted to move to Marbella in Spain. I was down there with him for 5 weeks, helping him out, getting everything sorted, and I was working from the apartment. And like the last week, I'm like, couldn't you just create your own business and do TikToks for restaurants? Because no restaurants are doing TikTok. And Like everyone has an agency to do Instagram, but no agency is doing TikTok. If you could just learn how to create TikToks with food, you can create value for these restaurants, because when you go and into a new city or you go on vacation, you look up what's the best food places in that city and usually go on TikTok because it works also like Google. So the best videos are ranked at the top, and you get a more visual form instead of going to TripAdvisor where you just have photos that can be anything. It could be a 50-year-old American taking a photo that looks awful, and their food can actually be good. So we knocked on a lot of doors in Spain, and we got a lot of interest from restaurants, but it didn't materialize. He moved back to Bergen, started working as a pizza chef at Bunkeren here for half a year, saving up money for going back to Spain. And my roommate, she actually opened Basso Social. We were not living together back then, but she sent me a message. We knew each other a little bit from Oslo, and she sent me a message, and she's like, "Hey, I'm opening this new restaurant. Would love to have coffee to discuss like how I should think about Bergen, and would love to invite you to our pre-opening." So I was at the pre-opening, and it was the same day as I launched my own podcast. So like my social media career in terms of influencing launched on the same day, both the podcast and food. So we did 2 episodes of the podcast, and then I had to run. I remember I had to you guys got to fix all the equipment and taking care of everything, and I have a meeting, I have to be there, and decided, okay, maybe I'll just use some of the techniques that I sent to my brother about making videos for TikTok and how to film food. So I actually just did what I learned, or tried to teach him. And then I put a song on there. I had no writing. I didn't do a voiceover. I just wrote this Bergen's hottest new restaurant, and boom, it exploded on TikTok. But personally, I didn't think, because the views went so fast, so I didn't think people were watching, because it had within 2 hours probably 30,000 views. I'm like, yeah, it's just people scrolling, it's not people looking at it. And I got a text a couple of days later, and she's like, "There's so many people coming in that have watched your TikTok," and I'm like, huh. That's pretty interesting. And then I tried to do a video at Flingy, where we met for the first time, Flingy Cafe, for my friends there. And it took a lot of time because I was very new to this. And I posted it, no voiceover. I think I texted a little bit going through the video. But it got 4 views. So yeah, it was horrible. It was very discouraging, and I did not want to recreate it. But my brother, he told me you wrote Instagram friendly at the end of the video. You can't write Instagram on TikTok. Mm-hmm. So I deleted the video, and then I decided that, okay, I'll try to make it. And then a week later, I was supposed to run a marathon. I had an injury. I was sitting there watching everyone else run while in the car. So I started editing the video again and then posted it. And then I get a call from my friend Kevin, and he's like, "What did you do? There's a line out the door. There's so many people here." I'm like, interesting. And then I was invited to another restaurant to make a video, and that was successful. And then, I thought, oh, this is I'm onto something. And then I was in Spain for 10 days, and I tried to do it in Marbella again, and no, it did not do well. I was a little okay, maybe it was just I was lucky for a little bit. But my friends at Flingy, they invited me to another pre-opening at Ying Ying Chinese restaurant. and I decided like, okay, I'll make a video here. My voice, I'd been sick, so it was off and everything, but I did a video, and yeah, I think they sent me a message on Instagram actually, and like, hey, thank you for your video. We got like 500 bookings the first 5 days now, and we would love to invite you back for the grand opening.
Wow, but it's really big amount.
Yes, because like the average ticket is probably around 1,000 kroner, so it's 500,000 kroner in value created out of one video. And that's when you start realizing what you're actually doing for local restaurants and cafes and businesses. And I thought, as a business owner myself, I appreciate when I can get that little extra push, because business is hard, it's rough margins, and I know my friends in the restaurant industry, they don't have time to do social media, and it's only the big restaurant groups who actually have time for it. They don't know what to do themselves, so if many hire agencies that can't do, I would say, good content, they can get photos that represent their food, but new eyes and new customers they will not get from it. And so I thought, okay, if I do this for all over Bergen, people start following me. I will create a lot of value for these local restaurants. And as of December 1st, 2023, I decided to go all in, and I've created a video every day since then. So a year now of creating a video every day. It doesn't matter if it's New Year's, Christmas, 17th of May, or if I'm sick, or what's happening, how busy I am. It's got to be done. It's like I'm editing while on the airport, putting in my voice while at the airport, just to get it out. It's more of a discipline kind of thing for me than.
So this is one video per day?
Yes,
wow.
At least one video per day.
This is big. It's hard work.
Yes, because you got to go do something every day. That's interesting, and then you gotta do the filming while you're there, and then you gotta go and edit, and then I have to do all my other work and my own podcast and try to be a decent boyfriend and be with my friends. So it's like I don't see it as work. I see it as my life, and I've always done that with everything I've done. Like if it feels like work, I don't want to do it. Of course, some days it is work, but if it's too much, like work over too many days or weeks, then it's not motivating me anymore. And I think if I start not doing a video a day and start being lazy, I will get excuses that, you don't have to do a video today. You're at this bar, you're with your friends, you're hanging out. But like, okay, when I'm in that situation, I can just go out, edit something fast, get it out. It's not like a very important video. I always have a ton of content in storage, so I don't have to, I would say, chase a new piece of content every day. So I always have I don't stress about content because I create new things every day, but also I can use, here are 3 good French restaurants in Bergen, or 5 things to do this weekend in Bergen, 3 best Christmas restaurants, whatever. I have so much content in store that even if I don't have anything, I can just create something out of nothing. And that makes it a lot more relaxing. And you're doing your podcast here, and when we launched our podcast, it was very important for us not to just create one episode and launch it. We wanted to have a little pipeline of episodes ready, and so we filmed 5 before we launched it, and then we tried to book at least a guest every week, and we went up to 2 guests a week for 3-4 months. That was very stressful, and now we don't have time for that. But yeah, it's as long as you have a little pipeline, it's not work, because you don't have to stress about finding that guest and everything. Because I don't need to have an episode today or this week because I have 3 in store, and maybe next week I have 2. So for example, for our podcast, we've recorded now. I think we're done for January, so we're off for Christmas now. And we don't stop publishing. We do it during the summer, we do it during Christmas, we do it because for me, consistency is the most important part.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it's like then you have specific feelings that you like safe and you don't need to worry about that and that. But say me please, how do you get these ideas to create new TikToks? Is it enough such restaurants in different places in Bergen to create such a lot of content?
Yeah. So for example, last month I did 2 videos at Bunkeren, and so we did the lunch menu that they launched. It's a very good lunch menu. It costs 149 to 179, and you can have a very good lunch. And then I did their Sunday buffet. I could just go there another time for their Gran Padano pasta wheel. I can go for a different. So you gotta come up with concepts, but for me it's very easy now because the more you do something, the better that muscle becomes, and the stronger that is, the easier, I would say.
But when did you exactly started to feel that people like see you, people want to talk with you, like this attention?
So I've always done weird stuff. So for example, the watches that I'm doing, it's like, oh yeah, Paul with the watches. So I've had that for many years, but not like a lot of people have known me, but not in like a way that they're doing now. So it's a lot more intense, I would say, and I would say started to really feel it in February. So that was like 4 months in, because I worked as the doorman if I didn't have any plans on a Saturday, I was bored, I would stand in the door at Cafe and Bar with the guest list, and something I learned a lot from when I was in New York and worked as a promoter for these nightclubs. Then a lot of people were screaming in the line like, hey, that's a guy from TikTok, and hey, can you get a selfie, and a lot of weird stuff. So that's when I realized I couldn't actually do it. I did it 3 times, and then after that it just got too much. So and then my Instagram in February had 150 followers, so my TikTok probably had 2,000-3,000. So it was more the reach than the followers, I would say.
Is it something what you expected, like that? Were you interested before in this such publicity? Or this is something what happened like accidentally as a result of things how you said you make fun?
No, I like attention. I'm not gonna say that I don't like attention. Like it's I like doing fun things and having attention. But like I didn't plan to be an influencer. But when I saw like the food thing starting to like pick up every time, I'm like, if I get a lot of followers on my Instagram. No, on my TikTok, it will be a lot more easy for me to start selling to sell watches locally, because then more people will know me, they will know my brand, they will know my products, and I know that TikTok internationally, they have a or like e-commerce on TikTok, so you can sell products directly. So I'm like, if I can get a lot of followers on TikTok, and then once they introduce this to Norway, then I can start selling my own products to my followers, and if they like it, it's a very easy way for them to order it. They still haven't introduced that yet in Norway, but it's been, my TikTok is growing slow and steady, I would say. It's like 50 new followers a day. Instagram exploded in, I would say, April, and I had 4,000 followers, or it actually exploded in March, because it went from having like 300 followers to like 4,000 in a month, and then from 4,000 to 8,000, and then it went very fast. And these days it's like 25, 30 new followers. I don't know, it's Bergen. Like, I'm trying to just focus on Bergen and the surrounding areas, and it's a certain amount of people who are interested in that, in my opinion. But if I can be the best channel to discover Bergen and surrounding areas and destinations, cafes and hidden gems, then I think that's very good.
But you just interested on people from Bergen, not from another parts of Norway, or who is real perfect audience for you?
People are interested in Bergen, I would say. So, because I've worked with social media for 10 years. Like, I've had businesses that I've built on the back of social media. My first company, we had 97,300 followers on Instagram. We had thousands of followers in Snapchat. We had Snapchat for our business before the biggest fashion brands had. So we were very focused on social first when we launched Lost Box, which was the first company, and we sold everything through Instagram. Like, every new customer came through Instagram. So previously it was about followers, because I posted 10, 12 times a day in 2014, 2015. And then they changed the algorithm because it was a chronological feed previously. So if you posted, you would be the top of the feed. And then they changed it into based on engagement and interest kind of algorithm. And now they've changed it. I felt Instagram changed the algorithm in January of 2024, like right around New Year's. They changed it to going into more like TikTok. And that's when I knew I had to go hard on Instagram. If not, I wouldn't do Instagram. I wouldn't. Previously, I've hated Instagram for the last 5 years because the reach has been horrible. But TikTok forced them into changing the way of distribution, because in 2016, Instagram changed their algorithm into like Gary Vaynerchuk, which is the biggest digital marketer on the western part of the world, at least. He introduced a 60-second club, and it's about the first 60 seconds decided how much reach you would get. So it'd only be for the biggest influencers and superstars and whoever could get that in the world, and they would end up on the Explorer feed. But now the algorithms know you so well that, oh, you like food, you like Bergen, here's a new restaurant video from Bergen. And so it's not about who you follow, it's about how good the content is, how long you can get someone to watch a piece of content, how many you can lock in to actually start watching it. So for example, for my videos, it's like, oh, if a video has 10 seconds in average watch time, then okay, we'll do fine. But if it has 15, 20 seconds, it will like go viral like crazy. Then we'll have like 200,000 views. So you have to focus on creating engaging content instead of just creating content that you think is engaging. So I always work my way back from the end consumer. So if you're going to consume my content, I want you to find it interesting, but I need to hook you in. So I need to have like the first second, I would say, has to be interesting, so you will actually stop scrolling and start watching my video. And then I have to keep that video interesting as long as possible and tell a good story. So I have to build a storyline that's very good and interesting for you as a consumer. And so I had to switch my mindset when I started creating content to go viral instead of creating content for myself, because it's two totally different kinds of content.
So, as I understand, you are pretty strong in marketing, and this is something what you learned. And as you said, you had you work with social media 10 years. But how it happened in your life? You 10 years ago understood that social media, this is future, and this is special, key, something what you need for business, because not everyone come to this point that social media is important nowadays.
So In 2014, November 1st, 2014, me and a friend of mine that I worked with at Pepper's Pizza at Vestkanten here in Bergen, we knew we wanted to create a business together, but we didn't know what. And I was finished at work. It was like around midnight on a Sunday, scrolling through Instagram. And then I see a concept that I thought was really cool. I wanted to order it to Norway, but they didn't ship to Norway. It was a mystery box for men where you could get a tie, you could get socks, you could get pocket squares, lapel pins, cologne, whatever. And they had 5 new products every month and a lot of samples and stuff in there. And we wanted to have that for ourselves, so we created it, connecting with Instagram brands from all over the world. So I think we worked with over 60 brands that most of them made it through Instagram, built their entire brand off of it. And so we decided, okay, Instagram was how we got our inspiration from. Most people probably get their inspiration from Instagram as well. If we create our Instagram account that will be big enough that people will want to follow it, then we can probably sell products that if they like our style, then they will probably buy it. Even though it's a mystery box, you don't know what you're gonna get, but you see like previously we've delivered this and this and this. It was like $40 for a box, and you get value from like $80 to $120. So it was very good for the consumer. So if you didn't like one thing, you would still find 3 things that you liked.
You were not always influencer and entrepreneur, right? You had childhood. I would like to talk with you about childhood, how you remember that.
I would say I had a very good childhood. My parents are still happily married. I have 3 siblings, 1 older brother, 1 younger brother, and 1 younger sister. My mom was home with me until I was 6. Which I think was very nice. And then she started working with something she was passionate about, which was she designs kitchens. And she did that for many years. Then she started her own business because that company went bankrupt during the financial crisis. She took over. So that was very inspirational, like seeing my mom going from being a staying-at-home mom to going to work, and then taking care of 4 kids together with my dad, and then starting her own business and how she's expanded that. Also, my dad has his own business. He was never home. I would say half the year he was working from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. Because he's an accountant, and that's when everyone needs to get their accounting done. So I learned a lot about hard work from him and what the cost of actually doing business is. And that is hard work. There are no shortcuts. I had an issue when I was bullied when I was young for not being able to speak right. So I had a lisp that came out when I said S. And so I was bullied like from elementary school, middle school, and not that much in high school, but I had very strong friends that they learned quickly that this was not something to mess around with. And so people tried to bully me around, but it wasn't like too much, I would say. But I was always I hated talking in the phone. So I never wanted to answer a phone. I hated hearing my own voice. Now I hear it every day. I've always gotten bad grades in like written Norwegian and everything. And I think like these I would say challenges that I had growing up has become some of my best features as an adult, because now I can, for example, all my friends are a lot taller than me. So for me to get to speak within a crowd, I would either have to be funnier or more interesting than everyone else to actually get my voice out there. And that way, I think I'm analyzing a lot more when I say something, how I say something. And when you have that friction, it becomes a muscle that's being built stronger and stronger. And you, for everyone else that don't have to have that friction, they don't get to build that muscle. So yeah, it was a weakness growing up, but now it's, I would say, a strength. So, but yeah, never good grades in Norwegian, and now I've been writing on LinkedIn like several times a week for like 3 years, I would say, and 12,500 followers on LinkedIn that like my content. I have most of my content get like 10,000 views, which is what Bergen paper gets on a good article. So for me, I'm very happy with having learned how to write compelling content, and that actually people are interested in, instead of writing content that maybe is more literature minded, that teachers wanted us to write. I think it's more important that you find what's interesting for you than what the school says is interesting. So if you find something that you are very passionate about, you should definitely deep dive into that. And of course, most of it will never, or it will not pay off, at least the first years, but everything compounds, so it builds. It's like a spiral. So for everything you do in the right direction, it becomes more and more, you become better and better. And if, like, for example, I stopped drinking, and when I stopped drinking, okay, I don't consume a lot of unnecessary calories. I have more energy the next day. I don't have anxiety for having a blackout the day before. I don't eat a pizza before I go home, or a kebab or whatever. I don't have to eat things the next day. I could like unhealthy food. I could just go running or something. So it's like, the small things that you do in life will definitely determine where you will end up. And if you follow your passion and you can really deep dive into something and it doesn't feel like work, it's more like you're enthusiastic about it, then I think you will come very far.
Yeah, it was interesting to know more about your childhood, to understand how exactly you became such like person with such big ambitions. And also you said something about bullying, right? And usually it's all people who I met in my life who face that in their life. Then when they become more adult, they like attention, they like to be a main, and etc. You said that you like attention. I had the same in my life. I had the same. I went through all of this I had around 5 years, not nice relationship with my classmates, and this built me like I am today now, with desire to talk and to show up myself. So, and super interesting was to hear about your parents, because you entrepreneur, right? And you are interested in building business. And it's not super typical with all Norwegians who I talk, because what I heard from Norwegians, this is exactly that this is nice and more stable to have work, but to build your own business, this is risky. So let's talk about your first job. As far as I know, you were working around 13 years, right? 12 in a Pepper's Pizza system. So how was that? Tell more about that time in your life.
A task at school. We had 3 days that we could do whatever we wanted to do. all my friends were very good at playing music and playing in a band. I'm not good at all at playing music, so I didn't think that was for me. But I wanted to work, so I actually. I tried to get at the pet store to work there for 3 days. They said no. Then I asked at Pepe's Pizza, and they said yeah, okay. Uh, did folded napkins, folded pizza boxes. They gave me pizza that I could eat during break, but that was not why I applied for the job. I applied for the job because I liked the conversations that my co-workers were having, because these people, they were mostly like 18, 19, 20 years old. They talked about things that nobody talked about around me. So I was like, okay, they're going out to nightclubs. They're talking about all the stories that they have there. They talked about sex, and like my brother was like 2 years older than me, so he didn't talk to me about this stuff. And so I got to hear like all these interesting stories, and I was treated differently because, okay, yeah, I was a kid working there, but at the same time I had a lot of responsibility. They didn't like give me just the shitty tasks. I got to do most of the tasks, and my closest boss, I would say, he was a chef there working every second week. I was mostly sort of like his assistant. He'd worked at Pepe's since they opened in Bergen. He'd worked in the system for 24 years or something when I started. And he was an older man, and very like, he was a motorcycle kind of guy, very like, he never gave compliments, and I really liked that, because once those kind of people give you a compliment, you know it's actually real. And we live in a world where everyone's like just saying compliments very loosely, and I think it has a lot more depth to it if it's actually has meaning and not just to be nice. Yeah, I loved working for him, and actually like he I would say drove me pretty hard, like pushed me to do hard work and actually deliver, and not just doing the easy tasks. So yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. Then I got to do a lot of different things during my younger years at Pepe's. I moved to America when I was 16 for a year as a foreign exchange student. And then I gave my job to my cousin. So he's like 3 weeks older than me, and we were best friends, or are best friends. And so he started working there. So when I came back, we were working there together. And yeah, I wanted to be a manager when I was 18, and they didn't allow me because they said I was too young. So yeah, I became, when I was 20, and then I became a restaurant manager, and then I became an assistant manager. They didn't want to have me as an assistant manager because I was studying, and I also had my own business at the same time. And then I threatened to quit, and then they gave me everything I wanted. So because I know everything there, like it's gonna take so much to replace someone who has 12 years or 10, 12 years of being in one place and doing the work and knowing every part of the system there. So it's you got to know that taught me how to know your value, and your using your leverage when you need to use your leverage. So for me, it was like, okay, I want this position for my own CV, I would say, and I know I can do the job. So they figured out a way, and we did it.
That's a pretty interesting experience in your life. But I read also that you had a like dream to create your watch brand, and in 2016 you finally did it. Tell why exactly a watch brand?
So it was very interesting because during the first years when we had Lustbox, we worked with Daniel Wellington and Movement watches when they were really taking off, and that was through social media as well. So we got to be like very close on them when they were building, and I wanted to create my own watch brand, but I was doing Lustbox, the first business, and I decided that, okay, I have school, I have this assistant general manager job, and I have my own business. I can't have another business. I was not good enough to do that yet, at least. And but I finished school at BI, and I did my last year in Oslo because my business partner lived in Oslo, so I moved there. And then I got a message from Lasse Smedsvik, who co-founded Adams Matkasse and very early part of Cutters and building that up. He wanted to invest in me creating watches, so he sent me a message during the summer of 2016. Hey, I want to invest my savings into you starting with watches. And I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. I've been thinking about this for over a year now, and I thought, and we decided to sell the first company anyway. So that was an easy thing for me to jump into, because I was in I would say a quarter life crisis. Because these days you go from you're in a service kind of work, you work in a hotel, you work in a restaurant, you work in a store, until you go into adult kind of work where you have totally different tasks. And in between there, I would say you're having an identity crisis, and I was having mine. Because we decided we were going to sell this first company. I was finished at school. I'd been at Pep's Pizza for 13 years in total, and I didn't know where I was going to go from here. So I decided, I quit the next day. So he sent me a message at like 10, 11 in the evening. Next day at 10, I delivered my resignation and decided, fuck it, I'm going to go for this. And we started working together, and back and forth. They were in Bergen, I was in Oslo, and did some phone calls here and there. But it became clear that they were very busy with Cutters, because that was growing extremely fast, and that makes total sense. So I decided to do it on my own. So I did it through crowdfunding. And so I put all the money from the sale of my first company and my savings into doing, visiting factories, doing research, planning, marketing. So I think I used 150,000 in Facebook ads before I even launched, just to get interest around the watches. So that's a little bet right there, I would say, just to test and see if people are interested. But launching on Kickstarter was a very smart thing for me, because that made me able to test the market before actually producing a ton of watches. So I just produced the prototypes. So I had 6 different prototypes, and took some photos, created a very cool video to promote it that we launched on Kickstarter. And before I launched, everyone was like, no, you shouldn't have too high expectations, and don't be disappointed if it doesn't go your way. Very Norwegian kind of thing to say. But my goal was to reach the target of 150,000 kroner in sales within 2 hours. And it took 38 minutes to get there, and that was a very big relief. It's like every time I put something like a big investment into it, and it's such a relief when it goes your way, because you don't know, especially when you're designing, you don't know if the market is actually interested in your products. Like, I've had collections that have failed, I've had collections that have been very successful, and it's very nerve-wracking actually before, because you plan in your head, you want these things to happen, and then this goes wrong and this goes wrong, and you can't do anything about it because it's the way it is. But you have to try to do all your best, and yeah, I launched that in March 12th, 2017. So that was 3 years before the date of COVID, because March 12th was the day Norway shut down in 2020. So it's not like the greatest day to have like a anniversary for the watch brand, but it's the day we launched, and it sold for, in total in pre-sales, 1,050,000 something kroner. So that was very awesome, and created liquidity to produce extra inventory. But I was quite new into that, so it's like I thought it would continue in that volume that we had during Kickstarter, because that's like 30 days and 1 million. That's crazy, right? So so I invested in having a lot of inventory, but I over-invested, so I didn't have enough for marketing. So it's like you got to balance these things, and for producing a watch, it takes like 3 to 4 months to produce one collection. So every time you order, you got to like plan ahead, and you got to see which collections are selling, which are not, or designs. So logistics-wise, it's very difficult to find the perfect balance. So I would say right there, I put too much money into inventory, too little into having for marketing. And I underestimated how big the VAT, so the sales tax of the products would be. So I got the bill of, I think it was like 250,000 kroner, close to that, like that I had to pay, and yeah, all that money was in inventory. I was like, how do I solve this? It's I don't have those money. So I came up with an idea to create a watch around the World Cycling Championship here in Bergen. I called DNB because we did, after Kickstarter, I put my watches on. DNB used to have a crowdfunding platform, and my campaign beat one of the campaigns that they put a ton of money behind without me putting a single krone behind it. So they were very fascinated. They asked me to play in their marketing or commercial for that platform, and I did. A lot of cool entrepreneurs that they interviewed as well, and then I got to know the marketing department at DNB in Oslo. I called them and said, "Hey, do you want to break the record on your platform? This is how we're going to do it." And then I told them we're going to create a cycling watch. I have a customer here in Bergen who has a cycling team. I can have them come in their equipment. We have a photo shoot. I didn't have the prototype of the watch. I just edited the new design on top of it using Paint 2. I don't know how to do Photoshop, so it's... if you look at the photos, they're very uneven. It's like oval. They're not very nice looking, but they sold out in 12 days. So it sold for like 470,000 in 12 days. Yeah, that money, the profits from there, paid for the taxes, and then you get the taxes from the sales of these ones as well. So it's like pushing it. And during the cycling championship, I actually get a call from a customer that I'd canceled previously. He was from Nigeria, and he'd bought 9 watches on the website. I'd just launched the website. I didn't know, like, how did this guy come over my watches? So it was like a big order. It was like 22,000 kroner. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Then I tried to I looked at the website and it said like big scam alert or high scam alert, because the phone number was wrong compared to the billing address. The shipping address was different from the billing address, and the IP address was in the Caribbean. So it was like all over the place. And I tried to call him, and I ended up someone saying wrong number, and I did a lot of research. I spent like 3 hours on this customer trying to figure out if this was real or fake, and I ended up canceling the order. And I felt bad. So 2 days later, I wrote him an email explaining why I canceled the order. And then the next day, I get a call from him, and very intimidating voice, and I was like, oh, okay. I still want my watches. Talk to your brother. I'm like, my brother? What do you mean? My brother was in Spain, so I was like, what's going on? But yeah, it was a guy from Bergen that he worked with. It turned out that this guy was the head of the board of the biggest oil company in Nigeria, and yeah, he wanted those watches.
Okay, so it was not scam.
No, it was not scam, and yeah, it's very nice. So yeah, I shipped the watches the next day, gave him an extra watch as sorry. And then he called me during the World Cycling Championship, and he said, I want 100 watches. I said, no, that's not possible. You can't have 100 watches with your own logo on, because the minimum order quantity is 300. So he said, okay, I'll be in Bergen airport tomorrow. Meet me at this hotel. I'm like, okay. I come up in a suit and all dressed up. He comes up in an Arsenal jersey, football jersey, and I'm like, okay, this is very unevenly balanced in terms of power. So we have dinner, we talk about the details, and yeah, we shake hands, and the next day I show him the design that we had talked over dinner, and he approves, and he buys watches for... we agreed on 200 watches because I just made 100 of them into a different design. So but 200 watches, and it was like $35,000. So that paid for the next tax. So, it's always like...
It's like game.
Yeah. It's I don't know how many times like I've had a knife to my throat, business-wise, but you always got to look for solutions. So. There's the government will always take your money.
Yeah, in Norway, that's true. But your collaborations with football clubs.
Yeah.
How did you come up to this idea?
So after COVID, I was like, most people had forgotten about my brand, what we had done previously. It's been like 2.5 years of sitting in. Nobody bought fashion watches in a period where there were nobody to show it to. So people were flipping Rolexes and more expensive watches online, and more like crypto and stocks, I would say, in that period. They were bored. So I had to like redefine what I wanted Berg to be. And nobody needs a watch. Everyone knows that you don't need a watch. You have it on your phone. You have it on everything. It's everywhere. So it's more like a jewelry. It's a way of saying who you are without having to speak. And then you have to design around emotions. And there's very few things in life that are more passion and emotion around than sports. And we are not a luxury watch brand, so like we've gotten offered from Formula One teams, tennis players, we've had golf players, but they are not our segment. It's not our audience. Their following do not buy our watches. They buy more expensive watches. So football is like a working class sport. It's the biggest sport in the world. It has fans in every corner. I like to say that after you paid your rent and put food on the table for your family, it's like what you are the most willing to spend money on. It's like, I need to watch that game. I decided this is an interesting one. I reached out to Brann here in Bergen. They were in the middle of a crisis, so it was not the perfect timing. They'd just been relegated. They lost their coach, like they hired a new coach, but the entire board had left or been fired. The CEO had been fired, so it was like they were without anyone in charge. Very difficult, and in a very difficult financial situation as well. So I didn't have a meeting with them. I called them on the phone, and then 4 months later we finally had a meeting, and we decided that it was not the right timing. But before that meeting, I'd called Bodø/Glimt, which is the most successful football club in Norway, and I would say since 2019. They've had 2 silver medals and 4 gold medals in the league since that. And the marketing director is like, you have 2 minutes, I'm going on stage in 2 minutes. So, okay. I have this idea in my head of doing a watch looking like this and this and this. And he's like, okay, sounds awesome. I'll call you back after. He calls me back. He's like, I love this idea. How do we move forward? I told him I will present you a design tomorrow. And I did. They loved it. And it took a lot of time before we actually put it into production, because it's like there's a lot of, you create a design, but it's also so many smaller details that you have to do and think about. But for Norwegian sports teams are very small, like organizations. There's not too many people working in them, so you got to be patient in that game as well, because the most important thing is actually their sponsors and the players and the fans. So you got to like balance how pushy you can be and everything with them when you're doing the sales process. So I think it was in November we put them into production in September, but in November they launched it for sale for Christmas. It sold out in 15 minutes. 100 watches, automatic watches, at a 5,000 kroner. It was madness. It was just crazy. And then the next day they ordered 500 quartz watches, which are battery-driven watches. That was sort of like, I would say, relaunch, but also resurrection of the brand, because it gave us liquidity to do more bets, and for me to. Okay, we had like a proof of concept. This is very successful in Bodø. How can we do it on a bigger stage? So I traveled all around Europe, meeting the biggest sports or football teams in Europe: Borussia Dortmund, Manchester City, Atletico Madrid, Real Betis, Arsenal, and so many digital meetings as well. I think I talked to like 60 different football clubs. But they're all built the same way. They all want no financial risk. And because they know they have great brands, they just do not want to, even though they can make money, they don't want to take that risk. They're used to getting sponsors to connect with their brands, right? So, so I realized I needed to find investors. I started calling the richest people in Norway. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people have their phone numbers out, very accessible. But you need to find someone who has a passionate about the team you're gonna do something with. And I had some interest, but I was probably trying to raise too much money in terms of too big of a first bet, because like the first one I wanted to do was Manchester United, and in retrospect I realized that was would have been too difficult, I would say. Argentina won the World Cup. While I was talking to a ton of investors and the Argentinian football team's commercial officer and marketing people saying, hey, would you be interested in creating a commemorate watch for your fans to remember this moment in history? And because it was the first time they won since 76. It was 86. It was 36 years since they'd won. Yeah, they came very quickly back with an offer saying, okay, this is what we can offer you and this is how much money we want. So then I knew, okay, now I just have to find the money then. So I went to investors, talked to them. A lot of people believed in the project, and so within a month, even though it was Christmas and New Year's and everything, I raised the money for it. And 2 days after having raised it, I landed in Argentina. So I was like, okay, got the money, now go do the work. And that's the thing that most people don't realize about these kind of things. It's the job is not getting the deal or getting the money. It's actually, that's when the work starts. It's the same here with Brann that we've now done. It's like, okay, it's taken 3 years, it's taken a lot of money, but now we have to sell this. We have to deliver this. We have to make people happy. They have to feel like they're actually getting their money worth or more.
But how is selling of brand watches?
It's been very good. We've sold around half, and it's been only pre-orders. So we've sold everything that we've now received. We sold 580,000 kroner in the first day, first 24 hours. And then we had still very good sales, but after they lost that game on the Saturday, then it just stopped. And then we had like a few days of like a balance of cancellations and orders coming in. So I was worried because I'd taken all the financial risk up front here, right? So I could lose a lot of money.
And my last question I ask all of my guests, this is, what is in your opinion, is meaning of the life?
I think it is to be happy.
What is for you to be happy?
Happiness is, for me, good people around me. It's being in stressed positions, but not negative stress. So I don't mind having a ton of things to do, but if I feel like they're out of my control, then I'm not happy, then I'm very stressed. And so I think being around people doing things you love are the most important things. I've been in like places where people, it's paradise for people. It's like, oh, I'm at a deserted island. There's no people here. It looks like paradise, but at the same time, it's so boring after a day. And then you come to other places. There's always something negative. Like there's no perfection in this world. So I would say you need to find out where you are happy and what makes you happy without materialistic things, without experiences. Because once you experience, for example, me going out to eat at a restaurant every day, yeah, it's a lot. I don't complain about it, but I don't get the same joy as someone else who goes out to eat at a restaurant once a month or once a week. Because for me, right now, it's work. It's something I need to do. It's something I get to do. Yeah, it's not the same as. So, if your happiness is linear to what you have experienced in life. So, if you've only if you see like the videos of children in Africa playing around, running and having so much fun, smiling, and then at the same time you're trying to collect money into helping them, well, they haven't experienced what you see as what needs to be for happiness. So it's like it changes from what you have of experience and what you if you look at someone else and you say that's happiness and you want to be like that. A lot of people, entrepreneurs, want to be like Elon Musk. Elon Musk, it must be horrible to be Elon Musk. It's not a life that I want to have personally, but he is a very necessary person for this world and what he's creating. So, but he's sacrificing his life for the rest of humanity, I would say. Of course, he's got a lot of money, but he doesn't spend the money on himself. It's just value, because the businesses that he's creating is actually creating value for people, and that creates value for his shareholders. But he's not a very materialistic guy that has a ton of stuff, right? So I think if you find those things in life that you can have every day and that makes you happy, then you will be happy.
Amazing answer. I don't have any more questions. I'm super grateful you, Paul, for such interesting interview. We touched different topics of your life, and I'm really happy that we had such open conversation. And it was Paal Friele Grung and Dasha Kalinovska. And you guys, we hope for your support and send this video to everyone.